Now, the remaining string attributes, if you see, list attributes, as I told you, if I take any of these numbers and if I say dir of that numbers, you can see the list of attributes. I already told that we don't deal with the things which are underscore on either side because we're already discussed. So still there were good number of attributes to work with within the list. So to start with, let me create like one more file. In the list attributes, if I take like two lists, I can add those two lists or like multiply and do other operations. I took like two lists. It is like a list of lists, and this is another simple list. I have two lists right now. So for these two lists, what I'll do, if I want to concatenate them, same like whatever I did, in the same fashion I can do. I can add both the lists, and it will not change the original object, but it will create like a new list. So where the values will not be added, but like placed side by side. That is called as concatenation. And during this concatenation, one interesting point I want to tell is that, so commutative property. So is list1 plus list2 is equivalent to list2 plus list1? Yes or no? No, because the way that you are adding will not be the same. To explain for you, instead of running the program, I will show in interactive mode. If I say number one is equal to, you got something. Sorry, list one is equal to. List two means you got it. If I say my list one plus my list two, you got some values. If I do the same thing, my list two plus my list one, did you see that? So those values came first and these values came second. So this is like two different things. So commutative property is not supported. Similarly, you can try for the list repetition operation, which is like multiplication by an integer, right? You can try that. And I'm saying that that is commutative. If you multiply a list with a number or a number with a list, both will be the same. Now, one task for you is that if I want to get the attributes which have underscores on either side only, how to get? If you generally ask like dir, I will get all the attributes. But if I want only the attributes which have underscores on either side, so within the list, we want to get specific things. If I say I got all the values. So if I want like only specific values, what I can do for, so each attribute in dir of my list, if I say like this, and if I say like print of each attribute, did you see that you made a, okay. So instead of list, okay, it is my list one, right? I wrote like my list. If I say my list one, now did you see what happened? You got all the values for us to better remember. So I did like a for loop. Instead of printing all the values, I did a for loop on each attribute and I'm printing each attribute. So print of each attribute means you get all the list of strings. And in the process, I want to take, hey, what is the type of this attribute and the thing. Generally what? For anything, dir will give the list of attributes. And if you want to check what are those attributes, you will get it. Say clear and Python d so and so. You, whatever the data type may be, dir will give all the attributes like a list of strings only. So in fact, each one is a string. So among the strings, if I don't want the strings which are starting with underscore, you remember in strings we have one attribute. String dot, which what are the string object is there, dot starts with. You can check whether something is starting with something. So if I am starting with like two underscores, I'm telling for each of the attribute, hey, is it starting with two underscores or not? Did you observe that for the last things it is saying false, but for the remaining things it is saying true? I will make use of this attribute for getting whatever I need. So For whichever it is true, I want to get those values only. So what I will do, so instead of just relaying, if I say if so and so, this is how I write a conditions. This time if I print, did you observe I got things which have underscores on either side only? Say I don't want to make this print statement. This one I am commenting. So now if you see more clearly, you got all the strings. You understood this is string again. So you don't want to print everything. Say you want to print only the attributes. Now did you see? You got only the things which have underscores on either side. But this condition you don't want. You want the reverse of it. So whenever you have one condition that the reverse of it should happen, you write a not before it. Now if you see what will happen, now you got things which don't have underscores on either side. So you see, this is a programmatical way of writing the same things. Okay, sir, I got this one. But what if I want to place all in the same line? I told, right, using print, we can write. If I do like this, what will happen? It will place all the things in the same line. So luckily, after that, if you want a new line, you can write an empty print. So this is how it works. So these were the total number of attributes you have. Fine. Now, within this, if you want to get to each of that, we can tell. So there are three things. First and simplest way is like the count. Instead of going in this way of alphabetical order, we will go based upon the usage. That's the easiest way to remember. If I say the my list, if I ask, hey, what is the values of my list? It says my list has these values. Within that, if I ask, hey, count of 2, means how many times you have 2? There is no 2. So that's why the output will be 0. If I say, hey, how many times you have 11? And observe, this is 11. This is not 11, this is 111, right? So it's fine. And this is also 11, interestingly. So there are two 11s. But did you see when we asked, I got only one value? Can someone tell what is the reason for this? Yes. At the base level, it is checking. Whenever you are checking for some value, it will check at the base level. At the base level, it's an integer. At the base level, it is an integer. At the base level, it's an integer. But at the base level, it is a list. So that's the reason it will not be asked. But if I ask, hey, do you have a list of 11? Yes, a list of 11, I have only one. So like that it is saying. And if I go one step ahead, if I ask like, hey, my list 1, and within that, if I ask, I want to get to this element, what should I do? 0, 1, 2, and 3. Don't you think that this is the third element? And if I ask, hey, give me the values, print of f of, if I say that my list of 3 right now, did you see my list of 3 is this one? For this my list of 3, now let me show you interesting point. For this my list of 3, I'm asking two things. If I ask dot count of 11 or dot count of 11 as a list, observe the difference. You will understand everything here in one shot. Did you see when I asked, hey, what is the of 3? You got like 11, right? But for that, if I ask, hey, what is the count of 11, means it is saying 1. Means within that list, there is only 111. If I ask 11 as a list again, there is nothing. So that is how count will work. And yeah, so there is one interesting point. So you understood that the third value is like this one, right? If I ask like one more step here, observe carefully. The third element means you got list, right? If I ask third element of 0, what will I get? Can someone tell what will be the value? If I ask third element of 0, third element of 0 means 11 again. So now 11, for that 11, can I ask dot count? Can I ask count of 11 here? I cannot ask because this is like an integer. If you observe, this is like an integer. So for integers, we can apply only integer attributes. So this will throw an attribute error. Hope you understood. This is an attribute error, whereas this is like a list. So whenever you are going for deep within any object also, if they are of list type, you can apply list attributes. For others, you cannot apply. So that is what you need to remember. Now, coming to the remaining attributes, what is this concept? So let me again pull back to the our list. So I'm asking, hey, what is the value of this list? So it will say that my list is equal to so and so. Fine, all good. So for this list, or like let me take a new script such that it will be simple and easy. Let me take a new script. And as you know the attributes of these things. So let me start with. So my list is very simple. I'm asking, hey, what is the values of my list? If I print also, I get the same answer, clear and Python is so and so. You get the values. Now for this, the most important question is within those attributes, if I can list those attributes, whatever you have seen. So within that list, you already know what is count. Let me leave. So with that, we have these many attributes. With these attributes, so the most common question that you will get whenever you're working list is, what are the different ways in which you can add the values? For that, there is something called as append, extend, and insert. Three things are there. These are the three ways in which you can add the values. So let me take the first example. So if I do like a my list dot append of 44. Now, after appending the 44, I want to check what is the values list. If I say, you will observe that the same list will be there. Apart from your values, it will have one more value. Did you observe? Means the value is added at where? At the end. If I run also, you can see the same answer. Now, if I take like one more example, sir, Python supports like for lists any data types. So it's not like only integers. You can add even a none. But observe in this case, for none, when you added, did you see none was added in the last? It doesn't matter what data type you give, it can add. Not only that, you can add even a list to list also. If you observe here, a new list was added. Within the append, whatever I gave, it is adding as it is, right? If I give a int or a none or a string, whatever is giving, it is getting added. So list means it will do that point. Sorry, append. Now going for the concept of extend. For same like here, for the extend also I will give a single integer and I will ask, hey, will you add? It is saying that, hey, int object is not iterable. I cannot use it. Means unlike the append, extend will not take iterable, non-iterable objects. Extend will take only iterable objects. What do you mean by this iterable objects, sir? Means I already told you. Any object on which you can apply for loop is called as an iterable, right? So what are the iterables? Till now we have seen few, and in future also we will see a lot. So first thing is like in terms of strings, we have seen collections. I told list, tuple, set, dictionary. Then range, iterator, generator. These are all iterables. Means extend will take only the iterable objects. So then, sir, I'm taking like a same 77, but like within the braces. Same 77, but within braces. Then you are taking like a list, right? If you execute, you can notice what is the result. Did you see that your 77 came in the end? But did you observe that though you gave like a list of 77, you got like 77 in a loose fashion? Similarly, if I take the example of next one, okay, for our understanding, I'll print here also so that you will remember. If I do like extend of 88, so in this case also you will notice. Okay. So if I do like a extend of 88 and if I execute, Did you notice you got the values? And if I take, you will understand very interesting point. When I give like a single list value also, it is coming to the same dimension. When I gave a tuple of two values also, all values are coming to the same dimension. And also, if I go one step ahead, if I give like a list of values like this, so one single value and a tuple of two values. Now, if I execute, you will notice that it is saying something. So what is the problem? None type object is not subscriptable. So where is the issue coming? In line 30. In line 30, it is an issue. What is it saying? Okay, I didn't write a comment. Yeah, now it's fine. So whenever we get an error, just we need to walk through why it is coming. Then slowly we'll understand. If you observe here, so what are the values you have earlier? The same things were there, but apart from that, your things were added. When you added like a single dimension values, those are coming in the same dimension. But when you have multiple dimensions, the secondary and tertiary dimensions are reserved. It's very simple to understand. Extend operation is like for looping on each of the value and doing an append operation only. So that is the simplest way to say. So to conclusion, so there are two ways for us to add the values. Both using append and extend, we can do that. But if you are using but if you are using append, it will take what are the things you are adding into add to the same dimension, whereas extend will take only triples but add to the same dimension. So that is the difference. But did you observe that both append and extend were adding only in the end? What if you want to add in the starting or in the middle or somewhere else? For that, we should rely on something called as extend. If you go to this concept of extend, so you will understand that. Did you see that? I am taking again a small list because already the list became bulky. For this list, if I do like insert of the values, so let me show these things in an interactive mode. So it would be much more easy for you to digest. So in interactive mode, I took the same list and I want to show. For the same list, if I want to do like an insert of at the 0th position, I want to add something. The first element is the position and the second element is the value that you want to add. So when the operation is doing, it will not result in anything. But after that, if you ask, did you see at 0th position it was added? Similarly, at 3rd position, if you want to add something, now the relative positions are changed. This is the 0th value, first value, second value, and this is the 3rd value. At 3rd position, if you want to add, it is not like overwriting. The existing positions will be switched by one position right. Means 33 will shift by one position right. So if I ask, so 33 will shift by one position. At 3rd position, you got B. Similarly, if you want to add, insert something else, observe carefully here. In 3rd position, I want to add a list of two values. Again, now what is the 3rd position? 0, 1, 2, 3 means at this B position. So the existing values will shift by one position and you get the values. Did you see? They shifted by one position. You got them. Means it doesn't mean that you need to add only same dimension. You can add anything, but if you give something, it will work like that. Now in the process, one of the entry questions is that how to make list.insert to work like a list.append. I saw like many people doing this wrong. So most of the people told me that, so we need to work like this. So generally append means what? It should add at the end. If you want insert to work like that, so most people told me that, hey, you need to give insert at the -1th position. Means index you can give positive or negative, right? At -1 means last position. If you are doing at the last position, inserting this one, it will be same like an append. But if you observe carefully, if you do like this, it will not do like an append. what are the last position value will be shifting by one position and your value will be added. So this is not same like a append. But if you want to work like a append with insert, so we need to use, instead of -1, we should like length of that list. If I do length of the list, you are asking the value after it. So now if I do insert and if I ask this value, did you observe what are the FF you gave is adding at the end? So this is one of the interview question. So one more interview question is that, what is the difference between list.insert and list.substitution? So generally list.insert, if you understood till now, you can add insert at a particular position. Whatever the position value is present, that position will be shifting instead of removing the values. No data loss, anything. Whereas if you go for substitution, you are referring to a particular position and you are trying to overwrite it. So the difference between substitution and insert is that in insert, the remaining values will shift by their position and every data element will be preserved. Whereas in this one, the existing values will be overwritten. So that is the difference. So similarly, so one more question that you will get is how to remove the values. Till now we added the elements. There are 3 ways. So how to remove the elements means there are 2 ways: pop or remove. So what is this pop? What is this remove? It's a very interesting point. So if I clear the screen, if I ask what is the existing values of my list, you got these many values. So for this my list, if you use dot pop, till now what are the operations you are doing? After doing the operation, again you are printing the list, right? To see how the values are there. Pop is the only operation. When you do, it will result a value and it also will have its effect. Means when you do a pop, you get the last element. Did you see? So you get the last element. And after that, if I ask, hey, what is my list? Did you see the last element was removed? If I again ask, hey, pop, it will remove the last element. If you ask, you got it. So, sir, what if I want to remove element at a particular position? Using pop, we can give that position. Say like at third position, I want to remove. So this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. God is at 3. Now if you see, if I ask, it is removing a value at that position. If I ask, hey, what is my list? Did you observe what happened? Means with pop, we can remove element. By default, it will remove at the end. But if you give a specific position, it will remove at that position. So pop will remove last val element by default, else at given position. So that is what happens. So then what is the concept of remove, sir? And of course, let me before going to the pop, let me come back with this only. If I go with like, pop, I don't give the position or like give the third position again. Now latest, what is third position? B. So B will be removed. If I ask list, you can see it was removed. And again, if I ask 3, the third position, what is there? It is removing. If I ask what is the list, you got it. Now it has only 0, 1, 2. At third position, that nothing is there. If I ask to repop, it will throw a index error. So because that position is not present, if I just don't give any value, it will remove the last value. If I ask what is my list, you got it. Again, if you do pop, you got it. So again, if you do pop, you got it. So now if you see, finally, your my list is empty. Further, if you ask any value, then also it will throw an error. So throws error. So whenever there is no value or you are referring to a wrong index, in both cases, it throws an error. This way you have your list. So let me come back with some more, again, the same list. Okay. My list equal to some values, right? We have. Yeah. Let me take again. This time I will explain what is the remove. So if you want to remove the elements by value, so it is removed. So pop by position, remove will remove elements, remove by value. So that's the difference. What do you mean by remove by value, sir? In this my list, if I say remove, just remove, it will throw an error. It's not like pop, it nothing default. You should specify what you want to remove. If I say like 22, it will check whether it has 22 and it will remove that element. Did you see 23 is absent? And if I say like remove of say 33, it will remove. Or if I say like remove of 11, it will remove. So my list is empty right now. If I ask to remove anything, it will throw an error. Means when you are using remove, that particular element should present and only then it will remove. If that particular element is not present, it will throw a value error. Hope you understood. Now you may get like one good interesting question. Sir, what if an element is present more than once? Same 22, I got like multiple times. Sir, in this case, what will happen if I do a remove? My list dot remove of 22, if I ask, did you observe that it will remove the first occurrence of it? But did you see the remaining occurrences of values 22 are present? And again, if I ask to remove, it will remove the next first occurrence. Every time when you do a remove, if the values are present more than one, it will remove the first occurrence of it. If there are like no, so then it will remove the other way. So hope you understood the concept of remove also. So next, there is one more interesting point called as, apart from these two, there is one very powerful way of deleting anything called as a del operator. So called as a del operator. Del operator, not just in list, subsequently also you will see. You can literally delete anything. Let me explain this with one more list again. I'll clear everything. If I say my list, if I want to index something, say sixth element, there is no six. If I give like say 3, I got third element. I can just write a del before that, my list of 3. That's it. In your my list, did you see the third element is removed? So this is so powerful that not just a index particular position, you can give like a slice. Let's say for this list, if I say 1 to 6 with a step of 2, did you see the alternative values you got? So B you got and like E you got, right? So if I want to delete these things, write a del before it. That's it. If you ask my list, did you see both values were removed? So del is so powerful that if you can index or slice any object and give that to the del, it will remove. So not just that, if you give your list, my list means you got something, right? If I write like a del before your my list, even your list will be deleted. At last, you don't get anything at all. After deleting, if you ask what is my list, it says I don't know. So that is the point. So del is so powerful that it can delete anything. Next, there is one more last way of clearing. So this is also another powerful thing called as clear. You have my list. If I say clear, so before that, let me give the address location. Generally, list operations all will happen in place, I told, right? Just to further let you know, DAR means you got the address location. If I say my list dot clear, now did you see? All the values will be removed, but the object will be there. So, and if I ask further, you see here. So object is not deleted. If I ask like DAR, did you see the address location is same? Object is there, but values will be removed. If you want only the values to be removed, clear. But if you want the entire object to be removed, you can use the del. If you after that, if you ask, hey, what is my list? It says, I don't know. My list. I don't know. So that is how it works. So this is what I want to mention about the del operation and others. Hope you are comfortable with these list operations now. We understood a good amount of things about the list operations. And the last things about the list is, so if you see, I literally touched most of the append, clear, copy. So copy is what I didn't touch. So index, so insert ID skirts, and reverse and sort. These two things are left. To work on it, so the next one is the remaining string list attributes. List is very massive. It has a lot of things. So especially if I need to work on these two, this is very, very interesting. The remaining things are index, reverse, sort, and there are two built-in functions called as sorted and reversed. Today I already told two built-in functions newly. So this is another. Next. So here, generally, you know till now that index is like a index operation, same like what you do. So if you give a position, the value at that position, you get it. So same like here, index you have, right? In the same fashion, you can ask. So the point is like, generally you give this indexing, you give a position and you get the value at the position. But what if I give a value and you want its index? So for that, you should use index. If you give like 4, it will throw an error because it didn't find any value called as 4. But if I give like something else, say in this particular list, there are values like 125 or 325. 125 is there, 354 is there, 324. If the particular element is present, it will give the index. If it is not present, it won't give it. You see now? So what is the index position at which it is present? If the same value is present multiple times, you get the first index. Hope you remember what you did the index in a list. Sorry, in a strings, the same index we can do. And next, there is one more thing called as sorting. So the most frequent question you will get in terms of sorting is, there are two things. List.sort is an attribute, whereas sorted is like a built-in function. Sorting can be done in two ways. Only for list, if you want to do, there is one attribute called as sort, and sorted is like a another object. It's like a built-in function. We can apply on multiple iterable objects. So coming to this first, if I took like a list, say I'm taking some numbers, let me explain this in an interactive mode. It would be easy to understand. If I take like a list, numbers equal to say, so 1, 3, so fine. I give some numbers in random. Okay. If I tell, hey, what is numbers? I got it. If I use sorted, which is a built-in function, and if I apply to the function numbers, which is a list, did you see all the numbers came in a sorted way? So that is what happens. But if I ask, hey, what is numbers? Did you see that the original value is same? Means the sorted is a built-in function which will create a new object, and in a sorted fashion it will do. But sir, whatever the changes if I want to make to the original object, then in that case we need to go for sort attribute. Don't get confused. Sort is an attribute. Attribute means with respect to the object dot you will do. Sorted is a built-in function. If I do a sort attribute, now did you see? You won't get any changes. And subsequently, if you ask, hey, what is numbers? Did you see what happened? Means sorted or sort, both will sort. By default, the sorting will be in ascending order. And if you want to create a new object and don't want to change the original object, use the sorted built-in function. But if you want the changes to the original object, we can use sort attribute. But sir, what if you want to do the same sorting in a reverse direction? There is nothing like a reverse sort. So we should use the same sort itself, but we should specify that. Say reverse equal to true. So if I do the reverse equal to true, it will do in a descending order. And if I ask the numbers again, Did you see it is still in the ascending order? Means sorted will create a new object. Similarly, for using the sort attribute, if you want to do, we should specify reverse equal to true. If I do reverse equal to true, you got it. And if I say numbers, you got it. So this is how you want to do. And one more thing. One more interesting point. If you want to sort with something else, say I got numbers like this, right? So ascending or descending, you know. So if you want to the changes to be in place or not also, you understood. But sir, sorting, if I want to do with a custom algorithm, then how means? So if I do like, the same thing, numbers dot sort reverse equal to true, reverse equal to true or false, you write, say true. Or like, let's say I'm removing this. I will write one more thing called as key. Next, you will learn about the lambda functions. This is something like one of the function. For a given number, within these numbers, so use based on the numbers dot count. So based upon the count, if I want to do numbers, numbers dot count of number. Yeah. So this is very, very interesting. You need to understand. You have numbers is a list. Within that, you want to sort. Generally, sorting will happen based upon the position or the value, right? But if you want to do based upon the counts, so within this list, each one is occurring multiple times. If one is occurring one time, two is occurring three times here, four is occurring one time, six is occurring two times, like that. Based upon those occurrences, if I want to sort, it will get it like this. So in a sorting order, so less occurring, so most occurring. So like that, you will get it that order. So fine. So like that, you can do custom different kinds of ordering. That's fine. So the most important other point that I want to mention is about the reverse and reversed. There is one more function called as reverse and reversed. Generally, most people think and get confused about this. If I say about the reverse and reversed, they will think like the numbers will be reverse. If I say numbers dot reverse, did you see what happens? If I say numbers, did you see what happened? You didn't get in a ascending or descending order. Just whatever the order you have, the same values were in a flip. Did you see? The same values came in a reverse order. Numbers equal to say 1, 2, 3. Say, okay, 1, 2, 3. Say 4, 5, 7. Something you have. If I do dot reverse, did you see the same numbers you get in a reverse order? That's it. Many people will think that it will do in a descending order. No, just it will change the order in which you give. Similarly, there is one more built-in function called as reversed. This reversed is a built-in function which will create an iterator object. So next you will learn about iterators. At that you understand. Means iterator object you cannot read. If you want to read it, you need to convert to a list or a tuple or anything, or you need to for loop on it. Same like range. So that also will give the same values, but in a reverse order, that's it. So reverse is based upon the positions that you give, but nothing to do with the others. So the next thing is about the copy problem. I will tell that shortly.